Is it truly possible to get away with murder? Can someone commit a crime as grievous as murder and still get to enjoy life without answering for their crimes? Sadly, as we'll see in our true crime story today, some people are able to get away with murder. This is the true story of Mayka Kukucova, the obsessive ex that got away with murder. Welcome to Yarrow Crime. Today, we'll be taking a look at the story of Mayka Kukucova and how she never answered for the murder she committed. Before we continue, if you enjoy true crime stories like these, then you may consider subscribing to the channel and ringing the bell to stay notified on our latest videos. Thank you. Our story today takes us to Costa del Sol, a beautiful city in Spain. Costa del Sol is well known as a holiday destination, and it boasts of beautiful beaches, Mediterranean houses, and an amazing landscape. The area is made up of several coastal communities spread along its coastline, and about 13 million tourists visit this location yearly to enjoy the almost perfect weather of Costa del Sol. One of the wealthy tourists to visit the city of Costa del Sol went by the name of Andrew Bush. Andrew was a multimillionaire who owned a beautiful small mansion in the region of Costa del Sol. Andrew was born in the United Kingdom in October 1965, and he was about 48 years old when the events of this story happened in 2014. Andrew was a successful businessman, and according to company documentation, served as the director of his company for 13 years before he resigned in 2014. But as you'll see, this may not really be as clear-cut as it seems. Company issues aside, Andrew lived a life of affluence. He owned several luxury vehicles, all of which he kept parked in a 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom mansion located in Pulmeric in Wales. Andrew was described by people around him as a good man and a good neighbor, and while nobody really knew him, he was said to be an excellent leader with a somewhat forceful personality. Andrew married Samantha Mason, who was a local news presenter in the mid-90s, and they had a daughter together named Ellie. Sadly, Andrew and Samantha split up only a few years after her birth. Despite this, however, the couple remained cordial. Andrew was said to have adored his daughter, and when he was 19, she began to work for him part-time. Andrew had a taste for opulent things, owning Lamborghinis, Bentleys, and a Hummer truck, which he kept at his mansion in Costa del Sol. In addition to his opulent taste, Andrew also had a rather indulgent taste in women. He was considered to be quite a player and liked women to be about half his age. In 2011, Andrew began to develop a relationship with one of his colleagues employed in his jewelry store, and this employee played a key role in this case. Standing at 5'5" with long blonde hair, this bombshell, who was barely half of Andrew's age, was a real distraction to him. The name of this lady was Mayka Kukucova. Mayka Kukucova was born on the 25th of May 1990, and she was 24 years old when the events of this story unfolded. She was brought up in a small Salvation town and was described by her classmates as a girl who always wanted to be the center of attention. Her parents were hard-working folks, with her mother working as a manager in a local store. As she grew older, Mayka became increasingly tired of the small town and was desperate to leave it behind. Because she was pretty, she also considered making a break into modeling. She would eventually move to the city of Bristol, England, together with Peter, the man she was dating at the time. They made the move with hopes of getting involved in photo modeling work. But this plan didn't quite work out when they got there. To make ends meet, Mayka started working some part-time jobs in the city, where she worked as a store clerk, a chef, and eventually as a helper in one of Andrew's shops, and this is where her and Andrew's paths would intersect. Mayka began working for Andrew, and the pair quickly fell in love. But the problem with this newfound relationship was the fact that Peter was still very much in the picture. Mayka quickly dumped Peter and chose to begin a luxurious, albeit strange relationship with Andrew Bush. Their relationship would continue for over 2 years, with the couple having a lot of fun together. On the surface, Andrew and Mayka had the perfect relationship. They took pictures at expensive restaurants, went on fancy dates, and looked inseparable. However, behind the scenes, the relationship was quickly beginning to break down. Mayka had also become quite ungrateful. She wanted to buy expensive jewelries and clothes, and since she had no money of her own, she always spent Andrew's money. Andrew was aware of this and quickly became tired of her spending habits, but despite this, Mayka refused to slow down. Mayka also became increasingly obsessive as the relationship progressed. She wanted to know where Andrew was at all times, interfered with his friendships, and wanted to be with him at all times. This became too much for Andrew, and he broke things off with Mayka. Mayka did not take the breakup well and became even more obsessed with Andrew. Mayka eventually moved back to Slovakia to live with Peter, but she continued to keep a close eye on Andrew. And yes, Peter accepted her back, and they began dating almost immediately. In April 2014, Mayka discovered that Andrew and his now fiancée Maria were planning a trip to Costa del Sol, and she concocted a plan. Taking keys to his mansion that she had copied, she took a flight to Malta Costa del Sol, and then took a taxi to Andrew's mansion. She spent 2 days there, lounging around in pajamas and sleeping in Andrew's bed. When Andrew and Maria arrived, Maria immediately felt that something was wrong. She spotted female underwear hanging from the clothesline in front of the house, and also noticed high heels around the house. When Maria and Andrew walked in, they heard a shuffle at the top of the stairs, and when they looked, they saw Mayka standing still at the top of the stairs. When she saw this, Maria screamed, ran from the house, and locked herself in Andrew's Hummer. Andrew calmly walked out a few minutes later, telling Maria that everything was okay, but that she should call the police and ask them to come quickly. Maria's phone was dead, however, and trusting that Andrew could handle everything, she sat in the car and waited for several minutes, and this was when she heard 3 gunshots ring out from the house. After a moment of silence, 2 loud screams came from the house, followed by some loud bangs. As she waited, Maria saw Mayka leave the house and walk straight towards the Hummer. As she got to the driver's door, Mayka calmly told Maria to get out. Apparently, Andrew said to her that she could use it to get to the airport. After Mayka got into the truck, she drove off. When Maria tried to get into the mansion to find out what happened, she found out that the doors were shut and locked. Using an external charger in the garden, she charged up her phone just enough to call the police, but it took the police and fire service a couple of hours to arrive. When they finally scaled the wall, the officers were met with the gruesome sight of Andrew lying motionless on the floor. He had been shot 3 times, 2 shots to the head and 1 to the arm. A .38 revolver was found at the scene, placed in Andrew's hand in what can only be described as an attempt to make it look like he shot himself, but with Maria as a witness to what had transpired. It was going to be hard to call this a murder. The authorities swiftly put out an international arrest warrant on Mayka, but several hours had passed at this point, and Mayka could have covered a lot of ground. The murder of Andrew Bush made headlines internationally as the authorities tried to find the person suspected to be responsible for his death. While the police were searching for Mayka, she was over 2,000 miles away in Slovakia. After abandoning Andrew's Hummer, she contacted Peter for help, who flew over to Spain to help her get back to Slovakia. But after getting home and hugging her parents, Mayka turned herself into the authorities and was sent back to Spain. During her trial, Mayka claimed that she was pregnant with Andrew's child and that she had gone to the mansion to inform him. She claimed that he pulled the gun on her when he found her in the house, and that the shootings had occurred after she threw herself at him and got the gun. But there were many holes in this story, starting with the fact that Mayka was never pregnant. Mayka Kukucova was found guilty, and she was sentenced to 15 years behind bars in May 2016. Mayka and her family were also ordered to pay €200,000 to Andrew's family. After only 8 years behind bars and despite murdering another human being, Mayka was released back into society, and she wasted no time, living it up and enjoying life where she left off. While she's theoretically on parole, being confined for a few years to a holiday destination is hardly a punishment for a cold-hearted murderer. She has since returned to Instagram, where she posts photos of her bikini body online. She has also been enjoying various beauty treatments, all while failing to pay compensation to Andrew's family. Nobody, looking at the photos of Mayka Kukucova online, would believe that they were looking at a cold-hearted murderer. Andrew Bush was a father and had a good relationship with his ex-wife and his daughter. An ex-wife now misses him dearly as a result of Mayka's actions. No matter how you look at it, I think you'll agree that Mayka deserved a tougher sentence. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments, and please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to get more of our videos. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next video.